Okay, so this is the poem called When I Set Out for Linus, and it is written by Thomas Hardy. Let us read about the poet first. Thomas Hardy was born on 2nd June 1840 and he died on 11th January 1928. He was an English novelist and poet, a Victorian realist in the tradition of George Eliot. He was also influenced both in his novels and poetry by Romanticism, especially by William Wordsworth. Charles Dickens is another important influence on Thomas Hardy. Like Dickens, he was also highly critical of much in Victorian society, though Hardy focused more on a declining rural society. So he was architect also by profession, right? He was British poet and novelist. He has written a lot of novels. Okay, so let us just read about the poem. First, we are going to start with introductory part. At the end, I'm going to ask you the questions, so please be attentive. When I set out for Linus, the pronunciation of this word is Linus. As actually this is imaginary place. In this poem, this is imaginary place. As a young apprentice architect, here apprentice means the one who's having training of something. So as a young apprentice architect, British poet and novelist, Thomas Hardy once visited a parish. Underline the word parish. Parish is small administrative district, typically having its own church and a priest. What is priest here?
I'm father of the church.
Yeah, father of the church. Yes, priest is father. So, British poet and novelist Thomas Hardy once visited a parish to supervise the restoration of a church, so that just to see the supervision of the church. On his return from the parish, people noticed two things about him. There was some different in his eyes, actually. So, a new globe was there in his eyes and a crumpled piece of paper. Crumpled means Crumpled means crushed, crushed piece of paper sticking out of his coat pocket. That paper, it is recorded in one of his biographies, contained the draft of a poem. You are going to read that very poem inspired by a visit to a place which the poet calls Linus. Okay, let's just start. When I set out for Linus, 100 miles away, the rime was on the spray, and the starlight lit my lonesomeness when I set out for Linus 100 miles away. So the poet here says that when I set out for Linus, like when he was about to start his journey for Linus, this is imaginary place over here, 100 miles away. This place was 100 miles away from his place. The rime was on the spray. Rime here means frost. Underline the word rime and write down frost. The frost was on the spray. Spray means leaves and branches of trees. Okay, spray means leaves and branches of trees. And starlight lit my lonesomeness. And starlight lit my lonesomeness. Here, lonesomeness means loneliness. Starlight was giving him company. He was alone, and starlight was giving him company in this loneliness. When I set out for Linus, 100 miles away, when he started his journey for Linus. What would be chance at Linus while I should sojourn there? No prophet durst declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess. What would be chance at Linus while I should sojourn there? So in this stanza, second stanza, what would be chance? Be chance means happen or about to happen. What would happen at Linus while I should sojourn there? Sojourn means stay. While I should stay there, when I was staying over there, no one can guess what happened with me. No prophet does declare. Prophet here means future teller. Okay, the one who tells us the fortune. So, fortune teller is prophet. Durst means dare. Not even prophet could tell like what happened with me at that place. Nor did the wisest wizard guess. Who is wizard?
Ma'am, one who know magic.
One who knows the magic. Very good. And wisest means intelligent. Not even wisest wizard could guess that what happened with me at that place. What would be chance at Linus while I should sojourn there? Clear? First and second stanza?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Third stanza. When I returned from Linus with magic in my eyes, when I was returning from Linus, there was some magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise. Surmise means guess. All were just guessing, but they never knew what happened with me at this place. My radiance rare. Radiance means glow. My radiance rare and fathomless. Fathomless means it was so deep that the depth can't even measured. Okay, so my radiance rare and fathomless when I return from Linus with magic in my eyes. In this last stanza, the poet is telling us that when I was returning from Linus, there was some magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise. Everybody was guessing that what happened with me, but they were not knowing exactly what happened. My radiance rare and fathomless. There was some glow, some different glow in my eyes, and they were just guessing what happened. Okay, and that glow was so deep that the depth can't even measured. Right. So when I returned from Linus with magic in my eyes. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, yes.
Excuse me,
Yes,
ma'am.
Let us
ma'am.
just see the. Yes, bache. Let us just see
Excuse me,
some.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Leonis is not in a real place. It's a magical place.
Yeah. Here in this poem, this is imaginary place. Okay, Linus here is imaginary place. He just created in his mind. Let us see the summary of the poem. When the poet set out for Linus, it was winter season. Okay, because I told you about that the rhyme was on the spray, that means frost. So it means it was winter season. When the poet set out for Linus, it was winter season. The foliage means the leaves and branches of the trees. Okay, foliage means leaves and branches. The foliage of the trees was covered with frost. He had to travel very far. Why? Because this place was 100 miles away. In first stanza, we read that when the poet set out for Linus, it was winter season and the foliage of the trees, like leaves of the trees, they were covered with frost. He had to travel really very far because this place was 100 miles away. No prophet or the wisest wizard could guess what experience the poet would have at Linus. Okay, prophet means fortune teller, and wizard means that the one who knows the magic. So nobody can tell that what happened at that place. No prophet or the wisest wizard could guess what experience the poet would have at Linus. He himself couldn't predict his future. And third stanza says that when the poet returned from Linus, his eyes were bright with happiness. It was as if he had experienced a revelation of life. He has become a very, we can say, a different person after returning from this place. Everyone silently noticed that the poet's happiness was of a rare quality, right? There was some rare glow, radiance was there, some glow was there, and which cannot be measured. It was so deep, it was fathomless, means it was so deep that the depth can't even measured. Clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, yes.
Okay, bache. There are glossary also at the back. Just turn the page, you have glossary. Hard words are there with the meanings. So first one is Linus, the mythical birthplace of Sir Tristram in England, believed to have been submerged by the sea. This place is now submerged by the sea. Here it is used as an imaginary place. The poet has used this place as an imaginary place. Rime means frost. The spray means leaves and branches of trees, or we can say foliage. Then durst means poetic word. This is actually poetic word durst, which means dared. And bechance means happen or chance to happen. So Joan means stay, radiances, glow, and fathomlesses so deep that the depth can't even measure. Okay, now look at the poetic device. So is this a free verse? Is this poem a free verse? Or there are rhyming words here? No, it's not.
Ma'am, no, ma'am.
Yeah. What is the free verse?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
there is no rhyme scheme.
Yeah, when there is no rhyme scheme, we say that it is free verse. So here we have rhyming words. Shivansh, can you please tell me rhyming scheme of the first stanza? Just
ma'am.
pronounce the first word as lioness. Okay, lioness.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, lioness.
Lioness, beta. Lioness.
Ma'am, lioness. Away. Pray.
Yeah.
Lonesomeness. Lioness. Away. Ma'am, A, B, B, C, A, B.
Lioness and lonesomeness. Lioness and lonesomeness. The correct rhyming scheme of this stanza is A, B, B, A, B. Look at the last word of the first stanza once again. Lioness, then away. Lioness is A, then away is B. Lioness, away. It is not matching. So it is B. Then lioness, away, spray. Away, spray is matching. So we are going to put here B. Then is lonesomeness. Lioness, away, spray, lonesomeness. Is lonesomeness matching with lioness? Is this rhyming?
No, ma'am.
Beta, lioness, lonesomeness. Is it matching?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is. So we are going to put here A. Then again, lioness, A, away, B. So the rhyming scheme for first stanza is A, B, B, A, B. Kajal, tell me the rhyming scheme for second stanza.
Ma'am, yes. Ma'am, A, B, B, then C, A, B.
Shivansh, is she right?
No. Ma'am, it's A, B, B, A, B.
That's right. How? Lioness A, there B, declare B, then guess A, lioness A, there B. So here we are going to say A, B, B, A, B. Okay, A, B, B, A, B. Sanvi, tell me rhyming scheme of third stanza.
Ma'am, A, B, B, E, A, B.
Yeah, A, B, B, A, B. Because last word again in third stanza is lioness, which is A. Then eyes, B. Surmise, again, B. Fathomless and lioness matching, so A. Lioness, again, A. And then eyes is B. So again, third stanza is having the same rhyming scheme. Yes, yes.
Ma'am, in word fathomless one, there will come C.
Which one, bache?
Ma'am, fathomless one, there you actually have to say
Lioness, fathomless. Lioness, fathomless. Same word, same rhyme.
Ma'am, so here C will come.
Bache, A, B, B, A, B.
Ma'am, first and second stanza rhyming scheme is same and third one is same.
Same, yes, same. A, first stanza, second stanza, third stanza having same rhyming scheme, which is A, B, B, A, B. That's same.
Ma'am, but yesterday you told that the rhyming scheme is A.
No,
A,
I'm
B,
just
B, C.
lioness. It is lioness, beta Sanvi. When I set out for lioness, 100 miles away, the rhyme was on the spray, and the starlight lit my lonesomeness. Lioness, lonesomeness. Pronounce this word as lioness. Okay?
Ma'am, so my rhyming scheme is A, B,
Yeah.
B,
A, B, B, A, B.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, now tell me, first of all, we have done alliteration in so many poems, right? Tell me what is alliteration here in this poem. Give me example of alliteration. Raise your hands. Raise your hands and give me, yes, Kajal.
Ma'am, alliteration is beginning sounds. Ma'am, alliteration is consonant of beginning
That
sounds.
is repetition of
Ma'am, consonant
yeah,
word.
consonant sounds, right? Repetition of consonant sounds. Can you give me two examples?
Ma'am, yes. Ma'am, in second stanza, first line, it is
Yeah.
alliteration and ma'am,
Means what
stanza.
would
Third line.
WW? What
Ma'am,
would
yes.
W? Right. And
And ma'am,
next,
third stanza, third
hmm,
line, marked
yeah,
with, yes, ma'am, third
marked
line.
with mute. M, right. M is again. So alliteration is repetition of same consonant sound, and there are a lot of like durst, declare, wisest, wizard, lit my lonesomeness. L is there. Marked with mute. Magic in my eyes. Right. Radiance rare. So this is alliteration. Can you give me example of, okay, what is refrain? What is refrain? Raise your hands. One poetic device is refrain.
Ma'am, repetition of a frame.
Phrase, yeah, repetition of one or more phrases or lines at the end of the stanza is called refrain. I repeat, the repetition of one or more phrases or lines at the end of stanza. So that is refrain. Can you give me example of refrain? Please raise hands, don't speak like that. Example of refrain. Yes, Jasleen.
Ma'am, when I set out for Lyonese, 100 miles away.
Okay, this first stanza, first line and second line. When I set out for Lyonesse, 100 miles away. This is repetition of phrases. So this is refrain. In second stanza, can you tell me? Shivan, second stanza?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what would be hands at Linus while I should sojourn there?
Okay, what would be chance at Lyonesse while I should sojourn there? This is again repetition of the phrase. So this is refrain. Just meet third stanza.
When I returned from Lyoness with magic in my eyes.
When I return from Lyonesse with magic in my eyes. This phrase is repeating here. So this is refrain. Our third poetic device is symbolism. Okay, our third poetic device is symbolism. Let me just give you example of symbolism also. Please write down in your books that symbolism is a literary device. Symbolism is a literary device that uses symbols be they words, people, marks, locations, or abstract ideas to represent something beyond the literal meaning. Okay, that is just a symbol. Symbolism is a literary device that uses symbols, be they words, it could be words, people, marks, locations, or abstract ideas to represent something beyond the literal meaning. For example, in this poem, starlight, that means twinkling stars. Starlight means twinkling stars. Now, starlight symbolizes hope. Okay, because he was feeling very lonely over there. So starlight was giving him company, right? So it symbolizes hope. Second was magic and radiance in poet's eyes, which symbolizes joy and satisfaction. He was getting joy and satisfaction after visiting that place. And the third was Lyonesse, which symbolizes a place in which the poet goes from darkness and comes back enlightened. He was having glow in his eyes. He was enlightened then. He was feeling happy that time. Got it, class? This is symbolism. Symbolism is literary device that uses symbols, be they words, people, marks, locations, or abstract ideas, to represent something beyond the literal meaning. Clear, everyone?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
yes.
Okay, so now, next period, we are going to do question answers of this poem. Okay, and we will write poetic devices as well in the notebooks. Okay, class?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. You can leave the class. Class is over.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.